Here's a question for you. Do you think that Brandon Beane's office has its own attached, like, ensuite bathroom? Josh Allen could walk in, like, after burrito night and just decimate the place and not flush and then just wait for Beane to come in, and there's nothing Beane can do about it. Josh Allen can literally do anything he wants in that building.
If you're a GM of something, or if you're a boss of something, and you go to your top guy and you need input because his right-hand man, who happens to be the center, aren't you going to sit him down first? Be like, hey, are you happy? Is this guy giving you what you need?
Edition of the Rockpile Report podcast. I'm your host, Bill Season Ticket Holder Drew Gear. That's my producer, Chris Kruger. Riding shotgun with me this evening, Mr. Doug Roloski.
What's up, boys?
God, one of my oldest friends, keeper of most of my dirty secrets. And we're here talking about Buffalo Bills free agency, week 1. I gotta say, first and foremost, it's good seeing you. Haven't seen you in a hot minute.
You too. How's everything?
Everything's good. Life is good. And I got to tell you, we were joking a little bit about it off air, but people always come up to me when they're like, what's that Doug guy? That Doug guy who comes on your show, like, that would be a great guy to party with. Like, where's he at these tailgates? And I'm like, dude, you have no idea. He's got so much shit going on. But it is funny that people get the vibe. They're like, you two hang out. You got a lot of shit going on.
We've been through every situation probably imaginable. Love, hate, sad, super happy.
Hilarious.
Oh, God.
We were just talking about a time when, like, what was you told one of your coworkers? A story about?
Yeah, I told one of them, they were like, what's the most pettiest thing that you've ever done to, like, a roommate before you had married and had kids, everything like that? And I said, well, I lived with this guy, Drew, and I told him I was getting married, so I was moving out. So his emotional response to me was, you stopped buying toilet paper. So instead of doing the adult thing and just buying a roll of toilet paper, I used your coffee filter to wipe my ass. I did that for like 3 weeks. And then you're like, did you start drinking coffee? Because where are my coffee filters going? And I calmly looked at you and I go, I've been using them to wipe my ass. And you just dealt with it.
Because I was like, no, that's a fair play. You know what? He's spot on. He's spot on. And here I thought it was going to be the time that you unplugged the smoke detector so you could smoke in your room, and you almost killed me when I got hammered and left a pizza in the oven.
Well, how else am I supposed to, in the wintertime, smoke Parliaments and Camel Blues when we're 21 years old?
Oh, my God. Like the elderly neighbor frantically pounding on our door, going, there's black smoke in the hallway. And then I open the door and I look at her, and obviously I've got like borderline carbon monoxide poisoning. For 24 hours, I couldn't hold down water. But I opened the door, and this is what a jerk off I am. I looked at her and I was like, what? I'm in a smoky apartment that you can barely see. I can't see anything. And I open the door, and here's this old woman who just got home from her night shift at Tops.
Yep.
And she's looking at me going, oh my God, I just saw the smoke and I was so scared. And I looked at her, I was like, what do you want? Do you need something?
As you look like a kid from college who just smoked a joint working at a haunted house.
And then I went in. I remember I opened the sliding glass door. I looked around. I was like, oh, this is bad. I opened the sliding glass door, started a fan, and left. And the funniest part about that day was I had just gotten into a fight with my ex-girlfriend. Mm-hmm. I'd gotten into a fight with her and decided, you know what? Tonight's the night I'm bouncing. I'm leaving. I'm the one who gets to storm away angrily because I'm taking control here.
Yeah.
End up at home, drunk, leave a pizza in the oven, almost get carbon monoxide poisoning. Do you know that I drove back to her apartment? And
I never knew that.
Went back to her apartment, used a credit card to get in.
Shimmied it
with a credit card.
That's a good move.
And just crawled into bed next to her. And she woke up and was like, what are you doing? I was like, hush, 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 hush. It's 3 a.m. I just need to go to sleep. And she was like, we're going to talk about this. I was like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. And
at least
she went to sleep.
At least she let you sleep, and she didn't just ninja kick you out of the room.
It was a time, brother. And I'm pumped. Like, look at this. All these years later, look at us. Look at us now.
Listen, we're living. We have kids. We're married. People married us. We have young children. We're busy. We're living it up.
Life is good, baby.
Life is great.
Unless you're talking about Buffalo Bills free agency, everybody's real mad about that. Everyone's real emotional about that. And it's like, guys, if you've been through anything like we just described, I don't know how some of you, like either none of you experienced the things that we have together and you didn't learn to just kind of take life as it comes to you, or you forgot it somewhere along the way. And you need to remember that.
Don't freak out. We're a good team already. Don't freak out.
So tonight, as we talk our way through the free agency class that as it looks today, throughout the first week of free agency, I want to start by looking at what the team lost. I think that's a good place to start this conversation.
Yeah.
Before discussing what we've obtained, because I feel like that's usually one of the balancing factors in free agency. If you're a team that loses 8 starters, but hey, we went out and spent $40 million on a D-end, your fan base isn't going to care.
Right.
Nobody's getting excited about that. It kind of paints the picture of where you're headed based on what you lost.
Yeah.
For a Buffalo Bills team, these were our losses, Doug. And when you see them at first brush, you've got a David Edwards, a Reggie Gilliam, a Cam Lewis, a Darnell Savage, who I honestly forgot was here in the first place.
I wasn't, because he blew that coverage in that game against Denver, but whatever.
And a Mitch Trubisky. First of all, is there any part of that list that truly shocked you?
No, and you hit it right off the head with David Edwards. They had to pick. They weren't going to pay both a center and a guard. They had to pick. You know, they got Josh's input. They went, hey, what's better here? Center money before the Linderbaum contract or guard money? And they decided, they went, we're going to go with McGovern. He's healthy. He's been a good starter for us. He's top 5 in the league. That's what PFF put him at. He was actually number 5.
Well, we're going to get into him.
And that's what they picked. Mm-hmm. They picked center. So
Reggie Gilliam, that stings.
Yeah.
It bums me out more than I'm worried about the functionality of the football team. It just bums me out because he's a guy that I think of as a Buffalo Bill.
Reggie Gilliam is not going to be here for the grand opening of Raising Cane's.
I did not like that he is. It's double whammy for me back-to-back years. I hated that Matt Collins went to New England, and I hate that Gilliam went to New England.
Because they're energy guys.
Yeah,
they're locker room guys. You keep losing glue guys behind the scenes to a divisional opponent. You're right. That does kind of sting a little bit. Right. And it kind of sucks.
And it happens to be the divisional opponent who you are fighting the division for, especially next year, and it looks like to be the near future.
Yeah. And I guess you saw the writing on the wall, though, because when you look at his snap count, like I know Greg Thompson tweeted something out today about how, it's not an insignificant role. He had more snaps than he played more snaps than what's his name? The tight end who's always hurt. Why can't I think of it?
Dalton First Aid.
Dalton First Aid. He played more snaps than him. And if that's all you want to do, like if that's how you're trying to qualify your argument, this is why I hate stats. Yeah. You can bend them to be whatever they want. Do you know that his snap percentage was lower than almost everyone else on the offense?
Wasn't it in the 20s?
It was in the low 20s. In fact, it was less than 21. And in terms of offensive snap percentage, he was one of the lowest. He was lower than Gabe Davis, who signed halfway through the season.
This was the first year he didn't have a receiving touchdown on this team.
Yes.
He always gets one.
And so that's Iman in his beta bets. He always takes Reggie Gilliam first time touchdown scorer because he can get it for $5 and get it for, if that's what you're taking, it's like $100 win if you're right.
There's no way Iman's spending $5 on a bet.
No, in fact,
he
usually
tops
it's $1.
Out at 1 or 2.
1 or 2.
Me and my buddy Sen this year switched it from Gilliam. We switched it this year to Jackson Hawes. And it worked out a couple times. That Miami game, the Thursday nighter. Oh, yeah.
So the idea that they went out and first thing early on in the free agency cycle, the offseason cycle, signed Sam Franklin, who played over 70% of their special team snaps.
Core special teams guy.
It's almost like right there they made up their mind who they wanted back.
Yeah.
They said, look, we've got a guy who can fill in as a depth safety. He's like third tier, but it doesn't matter because he's going to be our special teams ace next to Joe Andreessen.
Yep.
Because that's his core function. He can take the field if you need him, but you don't want him. It's okay because we have our special teams covered.
He's your A.J. Klein versus Kansas City in a playoff game emergency.
Yes. And so as soon as they brought back Sam Franklin, they kind of tipped their hand.
Should we get to this?
Hang on. What do you got?
Doug, A.J. Klein makes the 53. That might have been from 2 years ago.
You still owe that Seagrams, brother. We're never going to forget because we're petty.
What, 2 years ago?
Something
was that after the Kansas City game?
I don't know. I think
it would
have been an August thing.
I think it was the year after he came back and looked good. And then you were
That's terrible.
So you still owe, and we're waiting for the day you're ready to pay your debts. But
we'll do the Seagrams today.
What I'll say is
There might be one in the fridge.
fullbacks are a luxury for an offense that runs as much single back as we do. I guess just like the most functional thing on offense he had to offer last season was the fact that he was the guy running the tush push. He was the guy who was kind of the hammer to make sure Josh Allen got over the hump.
Yeah. You can find a guy to replace that.
Well, and this is what I was going to ask. Given the way that they've kind of like prioritized the tight end room in the offense, the tight end room is the thing that last year drove the offense. Now they've upgraded the wide receiver room, which we'll talk about, but with that in mind, do you think that this is going to be one of those things where you could go out and just get an H-back rather than somebody who says, hey, I'm a fullback / tight end, like in the golden mold of a Reggie Gilliam?
I think you definitely could. You can draft that if you want to.
That's my point. You could go draft yourself an H-back in the 5th, 6th, 7th round.
So you can
say,
be cheap for the next 3 years.
And it's a Jackson Hawes 2.0 and say, look, you can just go out there and this is your job. Your job is actually to go out there in short yardage, make sure Josh gets over the pile, and also if we need you as a lead blocker, are you athletic enough to do that?
And it's Joe Brady tweaking it again.
Yep.
Like the year before we had Jackson Hawes, they heavily relied on Alec Anderson as that 6th offensive lineman. And then we saw this past year that look what happened. Jackson Hawes was able to come in and take care of the blocking, and you saw Alec Anderson this past year because of it, because we had Edwards still and everything. You saw his role diminish a little bit from that because you had Hawes on the field. And like you said, now that Gilliam's gone, they can find someone to do that if that's the way that Brady wants to keep adding to the offense.
I think you found you filled the gap on special teams, and if you really feel like you need that role, that's something you can use one of these late round picks we have to go find a guy. Like I think of that Okonkwo out of Tennessee. Everyone has been banking on that guy in fantasy football for years, going, he either gets you 0 points or he gets you 15 in a game, and there's no in between. You could get an athlete like that late in a draft where you go, he's not a pure tight end. He's also not really a fullback. He's kind of a tweener, but guess what? Here's what I need him for. I need him to be strong as hell. I need him to be able to take on lead blocks. And oh, by the way, can you pick up Josh and move him 3 feet?
That's easier to find than wide receiver number 1 or running back number 1.
And so the rest of the losses are pretty negligible. I mean, Trubisky got paid based on that Jets game, which I find awesome.
Hey,
good for him. Well, hey, you gave us a great night.
You get to live with your wife and kids in Nashville. Go ahead.
Yeah, great. I'm happy it wasn't Kansas City.
Yeah, go have fun.
Watching Bass take a pay cut. Watching Bass take a pay cut was probably one of the highlights of the first week to me, because I'd been pounding the table both here and to literally anybody at any bar who would listen after I've had my 4th beer, that Tyler Bass, at the rate he was making, like the rate he was being paid, was an abomination. You had a kicker on your roster who was eating up almost $4 million in cap space, and he didn't play.
Right.
You had to go get another kicker. And this is a year after he was $3 million against your cap, and he had the yips for the first 2.5 months of the season. Bad. I'm saying, why are we paying this guy? And then I'm looking at the guys signed off the street for $1 million who are doing the job as good or better.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he took the pay cut to stick around, I'm happy. Like, good thing we have a GM who at least gets in there and has those conversations of, look, I drafted you. I don't want to cut you. We know you're talented. Also, I can't pay you $4 million against the cap.
It's not like he can bring in Tucker. He's R. Kelly'd. He's P. Diddy.
It's so bad. Like we were saying, we're like the Browns have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever.
Oh,
this
absolutely.
The
and you know what? Would it shock you? It wouldn't shock. It would not shock me at all.
And Haslam would show up to press conferences and go, "What? What did I do? I don't understand why everyone's mad at me."
And when they announce the Cleveland Browns starting lineup at week 1 for the dog pound, it's not a good old-fashioned Cleveland song. It's My mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes.
It's so funny. Like, just the Browns are one of the worst run organizations. And they continue to make this bet. Like, you saw what they did with Deshaun Watson's contract. They go, hey, we need cap space so we can sign all these free agents because we're going to bring in a boatload. Let's restructure it. It's like, wait, you restructure it? So you're just kicking it down to next year's problem.
You had a dude begging, a defensive-minded coach, begging to be your head coach, begging. And you're like, nah, I'm going to go with this Monken dude.
This guy who's never been in the building before. And it goes, but don't worry. We alienated everybody else in the process because we told them they would have to work with this other defensive coordinator. And then we went and pissed him off and he stormed out of the building.
Oh, my God.
I'm telling you, there's nothing like they are the reverse King Midas. Everything they touch will turn to crap.
Terrible.
Taron Johnson. This is where I want to get into acquisitions and divestments because this is where you start to see some of the philosophy of why we added what we added. Mm-hmm. The Taron Johnson trade, I wasn't a huge fan. And I wasn't a fan of the trade simply because I see the people who go, look, see, we told everyone we were cutting him, and then we found we got a 5th round pick for him. Mm-hmm. And good for Brandon Beane. I don't know, if you made him a post June 1 cut, you save $7 or it's close to $8 million in cap space. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't get it till June 1st, but you get it. For a football team that is constantly involved at the trade deadline, that $8 million halfway through training camp or right before training camp doesn't sound like the worst thing in the entire world. Having that in your back pocket to be like, hey guys, if someone on a training camp roster looks like a rookie, steps up and pulls an Osiris Torrance and forces some veteran off the roster, wouldn't it be nice to have the cap space to go trade for that guy and the future draft capital to do it?
It screams that they were helping the player out there. Maybe they were being loyal for having good years here.
Yes.
He was great. He was fantastic. Some big playoff games for him. He was good, but they clearly wanted to do something for him.
But if you were going to do that, why not do it? And this, I want to follow your logic, but why not do it 2 weeks earlier then?
To give him more time.
To give him more time. Give his agent more time to go work the market, go work the streets, see what's out there. I feel like I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my head around where this came from.
They clearly, if you think about it, let's just go from a football standpoint. They clearly, Joe Brady, and we're going to have to say Bean too because he was the one who made the move, but Joe Brady clearly sat down with Jim Leonard and said, explain your philosophy to me. What do you need? What don't you need? What do you want to do? So Taron Johnson has no experience, ability playing outside. Can we agree?
Sure.
That's not his bag. So it's either, are we going to pay this guy this much to play limited slot corner for us, okay? And he's a small slot corner, agreed? Mm-hmm. Or are we going to ask this dude who's never done it before to try and transition to safety? And Jim Leonard's like, I don't want any of that. I'm being 100% honest with you. I don't want any of that.
I did hear the rumblings like, oh, could he drop to safety? And remember when people said that about Trey White too? Mm-hmm. And you were like, no, it doesn't work like this. This is a man. You can't just move the guy there. You have to understand what it is. Like, I remember we used to play Madden in the living room together. Mm-hmm. And I used to I would play with like when I would play with the Kyle Bulger Rams.
Which year was this?
Kyle Bulger.
Or not Mark
Bulger for the Rams.
The Mark Bulger Rams. We would play like this is PS2 days.
This is 05, Madden 05.
I think it was 05.
04, 05.
Yeah, because Vic was 04. Vic was 04.
Okay, so then it was 05 or 06 because I remember you could also run the
Vic the was 04. If you want me to go get it, I have it out there.
You could run the halfback slam with Steven Jackson, and I could tell you I was going to do it. You couldn't stop me from getting 4 yards. And I would just run it again and again and again, and then Torrey Holt. But what I would do in that game is I would go in there, and there was a corner that team had that I would say, okay, my defense isn't terrible, but it's not great. But I would win a ton of games because I would take one of the safeties and I would demote him and I would put one of my cornerbacks back there who was great if you moved him to that role, and I would dominate football games because I would get a ton of interceptions.
Fortunately, most of the time you can't do that in real life.
You can't do that in real life. And that's why I think they looked at his age. They looked at some of the mistakes he made last year. And also, It's the durability.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about, he didn't give up that many catches and his percentage or QBR when targeted. I don't care about any of that. Are you over 30? How many times have you been injured in the last 3 years? And I go, look, for a small guy, you're starting to see the evolution of the trend where, Teron Johnson, and some of them are unfortunate. He's laying out in that Baltimore game, stretches his arm out and dislocates his shoulder. But you're a small guy playing a super physical game for years.
You're not getting
your body, the human body does not beat the sport.
The human body is not meant for football.
All right, Doug Whaley.
Doug Whaley.
I remember I was driving in my truck the day I heard him. I'm driving down this stretch of road towards my old job, and I hear it come out of Doug Whaley's mouth live on the radio, and I just looked at the radio with big eyes like,
don't say
you
that.
didn't say that out loud. You know that later that afternoon, Roger Goodell called and was like, "What?" He's on the phone with Russ Brandon. Like, what are you doing?
Don't say Doug Whaley. Don't say Doug Whaley around pool party, Uncle Dave. Don't, because we're sitting at the bar when he makes that trade and Uncle Dave taps me on the shoulder. I know it's Sammy Watkins. Uncle Dave goes, "It's Khalil Mack right here." He goes, "We're getting our guy right here. I know we got a good defense. I know we need a wide receiver. We're getting our guy. UB, we're getting our guy." Sammy Watkins, he lost it.
It's most drafts with me, to be honest. That's why me and Uncle Dave get along so well. So the addition, as you're getting rid of an often injured older player who you're not going to get the premium out of anymore. You're not getting his best years, even if he's useful. You're not getting your money's worth.
Right.
So you find a way to get him off your roster, but to your point, they were trying to do it gracefully.
Yeah, that's all. I think they're trying to help him out.
The thing that makes me angry is you're doing it in a way that, okay, so if I had to rank them, post June 1 cut, great, that's my top. Then you trade him and you go, well, we got a 5th round pick. I'm not going to lie to you. I would rather have $7 million in cap space than a pick.
I think it was a 6th.
A 6th doesn't matter. Oh, good. Even worse.
Yeah.
I just would prefer that. I would prefer that to the other outcome because either way, he's off the roster. I would rather have something like, to me, with the Bills at this state in their development, need that $7 million in cap space more than they needed a 6th round pick who might not even make the roster. It's frustrating to me, but that's what opens the door to cornerback D. Alford joining the team.
Yeah.
Great change of direction. The guy is kind of in the same mold of a Teron Johnson where he plays very physically. He's not nearly as good in coverage, but he's a dog and you can throw him in there and you can trust that in a transitionary period, like we're moving to this new defense, you at least have an athlete who's got, he's a step or two faster than what Teron was giving you and going to give you this year.
A little younger.
Doesn't have the injury history. You're probably going to have to coach him and scheme him up, but at least you've got another building block and a better level athlete overall that you can work with.
But he also has something too that Teron did not have. He brings a little experience also to the outside.
I know.
In case they need it.
I get it.
And if you keep hearing about Jim Leonard, like when you hear
Versatile.
him speak, he wants a positionless defense. He says that a lot. He says that a lot. So when I look at Teron Johnson, like we said, yeah, we like him. But what is he? He's a slot corner.
Yeah.
That's what he is. At least this guy, in a pinch, if you need to, he can play on the outside if he needs to. So we'll see how that transitions over to.
Well, and so then the other thing, I think the most polarizing thing that the Bills did so far during this free agent period was bringing in Bradley Chubb to play the edge for us.
If this is, I know it's a very big if, because you can look at his win rate, everything like that. If he is healthy, if he's 2 years ago Bradley Chubb, if he is, the contract is a steal, and you did very well. If it's not, you overpaid grossly for him.
Well, and you also missed an opportunity. Like NFL free agency isn't just about the money you spend, it's the opportunity cost. And that's what drives me crazy about this is a lot of fans don't understand that. and I think fans now are savvier than they were 5 years ago when I was fighting with people about this, and maybe even 10 years ago when it was worse.
Sure, there's a lot more information.
It's not just what you spent, it's who you could have had in the interim while you were busy doing this. Like, everyone's beef was that Brandon Beane was so caught up in trying to get Hendrickson that he neglected to spend money at some of these other positions where there were quality mid-level starters who could have come in and made a bona fide difference on the defense.
Yeah.
Your Caden Ellis, your Leo Chenal, guys like that who you could plug in and say, now that's set for me and I don't have to think about it for 3 years.
I'm so mad Chenal's not on our team.
And it's those types of things. But honestly, nothing shocks me with the Bills anymore. I've got a list. Guys, I'm going to read this off to you. In 2020, you know what the Bills' big addition in free agency at edge was?
Von Miller.
Mario Addison. In 2021, you know what it was? F.A. Obata.
I can't get jiggy with this shit. Love that movie.
2022, the year they made the splash with Von Miller. You know who else they signed? Shaq Lawson. In 2023, Chris, who do you think they signed?
I don't know.
Shaq Lawson and Leonard Floyd.
Leonard Floyd was great, but again, it gets ruined by the Shaq Lawson signing, thinking that is an option.
2024, their edge free agency acquisition was Casey Toohill. Casey Toohill.
Nope.
And in 2025, it was Michael Hoyt and Joey Bosa.
Now, here's where this past year is where just me personally, I will give Bean, he gets the old pass. What would this have looked like with a healthy Oliver and a healthy Hoyt? Because if Hoyt didn't get hurt, and I am counting on him next year coming back.
We're in the
and
Super
being
Bowl,
healthy.
but I don't want to talk about that because, or hey, maybe you didn't sign Larry Ogunjobi for him to be offsides in one of the biggest games of his entire career.
Is that a fumble? That was a fumble, right?
Yeah, he was a net negative as a signing, and he's a guy who I hope there's a day, not today, not tomorrow. I hope it's like 5-6 years from now when he's had time to forget about that play and just forget about what he did to the Bills last year and just the money he stole from us. Like, I think about him the way Eric Wood talked about Aaron Mabin when he yelled at him and he was like, hey, why don't you give back some of that effing money you haven't earned? That's how I feel about Larry Ogunjobi. I hope he's on his way. He's leaving a Krispy Kreme. And he's got he's just got a fresh off the line dozen glazed. And he's walking back to his car and he sees a quarter on the ground and he bends over to pick it up. And like a Camry doing like 5 miles an hour just backs into it. We'll be even then.
Beige colored Camry.
And we'll be even then. Like, that's how he, like, that's the only thing that could ever make that up to me.
What would that sound?
And it wouldn't even be hard, like, not hard enough that it would really hurt you, but it'll be one of those things where now every like 8th step he has a slight limp and he can't get rid of it.
And it's raining out and the paramedics are helping load him on the stretcher. And the dude who hit him is pulling a Drew Gear and he is sitting in the rain on the front of his bumper smoking a cigarette.
You saw that, right?
I passed you. Yep. I think I was still drunk driving to work, and I passed you. I couldn't stop. I knew you were alive. So we'll talk about it when we get home.
Chris, me in a rainstorm with the hood blown off my 2021 2001 Monte Carlo.
Oh my God, it was
my Monte Carlo. The hood
Altima.
Is blown off my car because I rear-ended a Mercedes on Main Street in Williamsville, and I'm sitting on the front fender just smoking a cigarette in the rain, and the cop is trying to talk to me, and I'm like, I don't care about it. It's like this is.
And me and Davitti are like, he's like, is that Drew? I'm like, no. Oh my. That's true. And we just look and he glances because we're all going slow.
I see Davitti. I didn't know you were in the truck. That's hilarious.
He's fine. He's alive. He's good.
Every single season, my point being naming all these names, every single season since 2020, the Bills have been settling for half measures in free agency at the edge position. They've been spending shekels, right? They're not spending a ton of money, except for Von Miller. But it doesn't matter because none of them, like Joey Bosa and Michael Hoyt, might have been the best effort you've made.
Yeah.
Philosophically, it just didn't, like, due to no fault of your own, it just didn't work. But before that, we have half a decade's worth of evidence that you might just not understand. Like, I get frustrated, right? They've never, like us talking about how they never took the big swing. They never went for the Trey Hendrickson. They never did this or that outside of Von Miller.
Hey,
and
but he's in on it.
I don't even want to hear about that. We blamed McDermott. And we're like, well, McDermott likes Mario Addison. Obviously, he's a former Panther. Well, you know, Bean helped like work on that guy too. From a pro scouting standpoint, he was in on, hey, Mario Addison's good to retain for a contract extension. A lot of the blame that we put at McDermott's doorstep for some of these things, you have to understand philosophically, him and Bean came up in the same place. That's why they had such good synergy when they got here.
Yeah.
Is because philosophically, in a lot of ways, they're aligned. So now that free agency started and you see us making some of the same decisions, I don't understand why everyone's shocked. They might actually still just be the same person.
Yeah.
It's like the Scooby-Doo thing where they're like, oh, and here's the person who's been doing this all along. And you pull the mask off and it's actually Brandon Bean and you go, oh shit, I thought this was McDermott's fault. It's like, no, you don't understand. When it worked because they were in lockstep. And when it failed because they were in lockstep on ideas.
And I think that's why a lot of us were a little confused after they fired McDermott. I'm not saying it wasn't time. I thought it was time, like we talked about after that 13 seconds, but whatever. That's why a lot of us maybe thought it was very confusing to see Bean not only stay, but get the promotion.
Well, we're going to talk about that.
You know what I mean? Like,
for those of you who have listened to the live show already, you understand why that happened and how that separated Eric DaCosta and Brandon Bean and how, like, the difference that made between some of the things you're seeing now.
Does anyone look worse than that guy right now?
It's hilarious. And it just keeps getting worse. What I will say in Chubb's defense, he's now 2 years removed from an ACL tear.
Usually the second of that is, here we go. Ready to rock and roll.
So with that said, everything that he was doing wasn't like the way I've heard it described was you're not going to get Joey Bosa's pass rush, but you also aren't getting Joey Bosa's gross liability against the run.
Right.
And I don't hate that. And so if there's upside to him as a pass rusher, right? If he was already even playing hurt, he was in the top third of all edge players in the NFL.
Right.
You know, what was he, like 37th, 38th in terms of pass rush win rate and all these things? Then it's not terrible.
Yeah.
And it allows you to do some things with like, this is where it's all becomes a projection, because you're like, okay, now here's a guy who's still very stout against the run. He's a very good edge setter. You now have two who, if you line up in a nickel formation, can still hold the edge against the run.
Absolutely.
Extraordinarily well.
Because that's Rousseau's specialty. Like, as much as all of us want it to be pass rush, his specialty.
And if you think about Greg Rousseau, what Greg Rousseau needs is the ability to sometimes he needs a D coordinator who understands, hey, sometimes he's got to play the wide nine. Sometimes you have to put him in positions where he can win, because that's how he did it in college. It was never because, hey, we're going to line him up on a guy and he's got so much bend he can dip the corner. That was never his game.
You know, Ed's going to be out there.
And so this is where it's like there's still options. But if there's any quote that gave me a feeling like this all might work, when you hear Bradley Chubb, this is a quote from Matt Perino from New York Upstate saying, Bradley Chubb on what Jim Leonard said would be different about the Bills. The talk was in the past, it was the offense go out there and put up however many points. And the defense don't lose the game. Now we're trying to be aggressive on defense and set the tone.
Yeah.
Do you think that appeals to a guy like Rousseau? When you go, hey, for years you've been told set the edge, don't let anyone buy you, don't be a liability. And now they're going, hey, can you go attack that guy? Can you go get that quarterback? Hey, that guard, we're going to reduce you down inside. Can you just get his ass?
And you know what? I think these guys are going to just absolutely love him. I think they're going to have that dog switch that goes into him. Maybe Rousseau suffers a little at his run defense, because now he's going to be like controlled chaos.
Well, but you want him rushing the passer at a more effective rate So you're going to go find ways to do that. And if that means you have to get creative on the defensive line, well, now given the defensive structure, one of the things I keep thinking about is last year we panned the fact that our defensive end depth was so bad. And that 3rd round pick in what's his face? Frankenstein out of Arkansas.
3rd round for us?
Landon Jackson.
Landon Jackson.
Yeah.
Landon Jackson. He
What did he tear? Achilles? Or was it?
No,
was
he
it
tore his
Achilles?
ACL.
It was an ACL?
Yeah. So when I think about that and I think about the TJ Sanders playing defensive end.
Why'd
Well, here's the thing. What happens when you get against a team where you're like, that guard's so bad? What if I put a TJ Sanders on the end to occupy the tackle and I just let Rousseau just have that guard?
Yeah.
You've got options. If you're a D coordinator willing to roll the dice on that. The McDermott defense wasn't. Leonard seems like he has other ideas. And so if that's the case, then some of these guys might get recast altogether. And so there's a way that this could work. For everybody who's mad about Bradley Chubb being, it's an opportunity cost missed because we didn't get any of these mid-level starters that we could have had because we were chasing Hendrickson and eventually landed on Bradley Chubb because he knew we needed another edge.
Yeah. For sure, 1,000% they have to.
But I'm not in love with it or against it. I just think that the idea is if you have an idea as a coordinator, like now you're going to have ideas. It falls on Jim Leonard. If they haven't given him significant help in free agency, it probably means one of two things. Either one, you're going to focus your draft, which kind of feeds into the strength of this draft class. At the edge position, at the cornerback position,
1,000,000%.
the safety position, you're going to plug some of the holes that everybody sees in our roster still with the draft. And you're going to let Jim Leonard tell you what he likes in these prospects and who he thinks we should be pursuing.
Again, this is going to be the draft to where I believe that they are going to end up just because of that and what you need in defense and how you want to mix and match. Take 10 draft picks, get to 10, and throw darts. And try and get 3 solid starters out of the 10.
On defense,
On defense.
100%.
If they do that, it is a win. It is a win, and let's give him, now I will give Bean some credit. Where is his strength? His strength is round 4, 5, and 6. His track record overall is 4, 5, and 6. Think about how many starters he has pulled out of the draft.
Starters for us.
Yes. I'm saying starters for the Bills. That's where we could all say, I think, as fans, if you look at him, that is where he makes his money and his bread and butter. And you have to take, you know who else did that? The Rams. They kept getting a bunch of mid-level picks just because they didn't have their first round
picks. And
they
walked into a Puka Nacua and it all went away.
And they walked into a bunch of different guys.
Years of crying. You're right. Years of crying about how, we missed on this, we missed on that. Well, then you end up with a Kyron Williams and you end up with
he's their captain, a linebacker.
Yeah.
He was like a 4th or 5th round pick. I'm trying to think of his last name.
You just end up fleshing out your depth chart with these guys and you go, that's enough to win.
Yes.
And then every now and again, one of them pops. Like, look at us with Shakir. Shakir's our number 1 receiver, and you got him in the 5th round, and people were pissed about it.
You got Walker. You got Shakir. You got Benford. You have a lot of these guys who are like, yes, okay, look where we ended up picking this guy. Look at how well he's doing. But then on the other hand, you're like, can you imagine
what it would be like if
we would have hit on the Elam pick as well? Yeah. If we would have taken someone else in that same draft and be like, man, he knocked it out of the park on 2 of the guys.
Well, at the end of the day, the defense is going to be what it is. It's clear they have a strategy there. But on the offensive side, this is where it's the Connor McGovern thing was the most important move that they could have made.
I absolutely loved it.
It's not hyperbole that it is the most important thing that they accomplished this offseason was.
Well, I put it on Twitter
finding a way to retain him.
I put it on Twitter to Alex Brasky. Because at work I'm listening to XM all the time.
Okay.
And he was on with Shine, and Shine was asking him about his contract, and McGovern basically said. At the exit meeting, I said, Bean told me we want you to test free agency. And, his favorite quote, you've earned the right for free agency. And then like a week or two ago, 17 called Connor McGovern, and he was like, "Hey, what's up? You got a contract?" He was like, "No, I haven't heard anything from Bean." And then apparently Alan called Bean and said, "The fuck are you doing?" And then a couple days later, there's a contract and McGovern signed.
Isn't it funny how, like, obviously, let's just go business aspect. If you're paying someone over $300 million in any business, I am assuming, even if they're not the boss, you are going to use their input in situations when it comes to business.
Here's a question.
Why that doesn't happen right away, I don't understand.
Here's a question for you. Do you think that Brandon Bean's office has its own attached, like, ensuite bathroom?
1,000%.
Chris, do you think he has his own commode?
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Josh Allen could walk in like after burrito night and just decimate the place and not flush and then just wait for Bean to come in, and there's nothing Bean can do about it. That's what happens when you're Josh Allen. And so when he makes that phone call to Bean, you know, I saw the joking online that it was, Tim Graham writing that article about how he hasn't heard anything is the thing that got it done. Josh Allen can literally do anything he wants in that building.
Right.
He could shoot a guy. And I bet
fine.
you they would cover it up.
1,000,000% they would be.
They'd be like, listen, you get one desk pop. Everyone gets one.
They would look
He
at.
discharges a weapon in the building just because.
So my cousin Molly and her boyfriend Anthony, they just moved back from Nashville.
Okay.
He was working for the Cardinals in Arizona, and then he got a job. He was working analytics in the wide receiver room.
Okay.
Him and her went to Edinburgh, and they have a degree in math with numbers, sports numbers. And then he got a job with the CMAs in Nashville. Moved closer to home. He's been hired, and he works for the Bills now. And he's helping with the wide receivers and the numbers and everything like that. That would be like, you know what? You could just do whatever you want, man, with the money. You don't even need to do anything like this. You're fine. You're going to be totally fine. Like, you need to have some common sense and think. If you're a GM of something, or if you're a boss of something, and you go to your top guy and you need input because his right-hand man, who happens to be the center, a big decision's coming up. Aren't you going to sit him down first? Be like, hey, Are you happy? Is this guy giving you what you need?
And then what I think about the Ravens. The Ravens have been talked about, like when they thought they were getting Max Crosby. When they thought they were getting Max Crosby, everyone called them, like, I remember ESPN and all the stupid talking faces on that platform talking about the fact that this was them sending a message to the rest of the AFC, and it put them as a front runner, and it did all these things. And I'm like, do you guys not understand that they don't have a line? And that they actually they've got a shit show on their hands. Their guards were two of the most maligned players in the entire roster. They lost Tyler Linderbaum, and they now need to go get they need a lot. And they're going to have real difficulty trying to solve the problem that was, hey, I've got bad interior offensive line play. Oh, it got much worse? How do I solve this? Oh, by the way, my running backs are getting old. Like, all of these problems that they have to deal with. And then you look at what they're getting paid by comparison.
Bro. Like, it is absolutely insane. Did you check it out? Did you see exactly what it was? And why are you doing this, too, if you're Baltimore? And there's another team I want to get to who's doing the same thing. What was your weak spot? Later on in the year, they got better on defense. They did. But your offense was absolutely atrocious. It was atrocious.
Yep.
They couldn't do anything.
Here's the numbers. Connor McGovern, 4 years at $52 million, which is $13 million a year. Tyler Linderbaum, 3 years, 81 so 27 for less term.
Now, can we do something here, Chris? Can you try to pull something up?
Yeah.
Now, I know Connor McGovern, and it's just because they released it after he signed his contract. He's PFF's fifth-ranked center in the league.
Yep.
I would love to see where Linderbaum's at, because is he going to be 2? Is he going to be behind, what's his name from Kansas City?
Probably. Creed Humphrey's
yeah, he's the
Creed Humphrey's the gold standard.
Right.
I mean, he's no Boogie Basham, but
I mean, I don't have Boogie. I don't have I don't have PFF access.
So we're going to go basically from 2 to 5, and that contract is insane.
Yeah.
Is insane.
Considering what was out there, the Bills now once again have the best interior offensive line of anybody in the AFC East.
Yeah, Alec. Yes, 1,000%.
And it's a significant advantage at a time when everybody else is loading up on the D line. When you take a look at what some of these teams have out there, and you say, "Hey, here's what we have at interior line." Okay, Connor McGovern, Aaron Brewer, Jared Wilson, and Josh Myers are the starting centers in the AFC East. Who is Josh Myers?
Right.
I've never heard of you before.
So I'm glad.
I don't even know who you are.
Isn't he a comic?
So no.
Josh Adam Myers.
Josh
So I'm
Adam
so
Myers.
glad that you said AFC East, because I do have a question for both of you guys, especially for you. Think of this. I just want to know what you're thinking. The Patriots. What are you doing trading your center to Chicago and not replacing him? Replacing him with your guard from the previous year, I believe. That's what they did.
They think they know better.
Well, you still got the draft.
I get
Sure.
that.
So now your thing is, I'm going to go draft a center, and hopefully this rookie pans out.
Right. Hopefully this rookie pans out after you just went on a Super Bowl run. Let's call it what it is.
They made it.
They made it. They beat who they beat, and they made it.
Who did they beat?
Like, what are you?
They beat the Bo Nixless.
But that quarterback's got solid hair. He's got a really good hair. And I'll tell you what, during that stupid game,
so much.
if he listen, how do you not? I'm going off topic. You're up 3-0 already with your backup quarterback. How do you not just kick a field goal and go? Your defense is playing great.
Yep, that drive screwed him.
I'll tell you why. Because the Denver Broncos do not employ a meteorologist.
A meteorologist. It's sunny at game time, and now, oh my God,
Meteorologists are scam artists, and I want them all shot in the back in a backyard somewhere.
Can you imagine me and you in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, as rotating meteorologists?
Dude, you and me would look awful on green screen. People would realize how fat we are.
I look good. I look good.
I look good.
I
don't
look
know
good.
about you.
My wife is extremely gorgeous and hot. I'm not even over exaggerating one bit.
See, this is what we both outkicked our coverage.
We did well, and that's what you do. You just look in the mirror and like I got this. Look at McGovern,
dude.
That dude showed up with no sleeves and 18 pizzas the other day. I saw it online to the the news guys.
I did a spit take the other day because my wife looked at me with a straight face because I made a comment. She goes, "I don't understand where this is coming from. You know, I think we're of equal attractiveness." And I had a beer in my hand and I spit it on the counter and just laughed. I was like, "I love you. I love you." I was like, even if this is a bit, I love you.
No, like if you're just going if you're just going off of looks, I have to compare it to your wife. If you're just going off of looks, she is the prom queen, and there's nothing wrong with this at all, but we're just going off of looks. She's the prom queen, and you are the Down syndrome cart pusher at Tops. Like, that's just what you are.
It's okay.
That's fine. I get it. My wife's way hotter than me, but
here's what
we have the confidence that we look good.
Here's what I'll say. When you look around the AFC as a whole and you look at centers, it's now the Raiders, the Bills, and the Chiefs who have the best option in the entire AFC. And in terms of offensive interior line as a whole, when you branch that out, it's Buffalo and Kansas City, and it's not close with most other football teams.
Right.
And I think that's a massive boon to any team that says, hey, I got to start quarterback and I got to control the line of scrimmage. Here's how I'm going to do it. We're going to hit you in the mouth and run between the tackles. Why? Because we can. Because we've got an Osiris Torrance, because we've got a McGovern, we've got a Spencer Brown who's willing to play dirtbag football.
They have to extend. They have to
get them done this offseason.
They have to.
So now it's the thing, though, of I can't understate how important the continuity. Connor McGovern is the most important thing that we could have done all offseason.
Yeah.
Right? And then when you look at the other offensive line retention, like Ryan Vandermark coming back, deal was a little rich. I don't love the fact that it's worth his tenders were $3 million.
I believe it's 3.25.
But he's a guy who you trusted in multiple big games to come in and play tackle for you.
And they have that Chase Lunt. Dave
Tylen Grable.
Grable, that's
You've
it.
got
Yep.
guys who aren't making any money but can come in and be better than some team starters.
Yeah.
And this is the legacy.
And add another one later in the draft, too.
This is a Cromer legacy thing that you have to capitalize on because you no longer have him, but you've got the guys that were under his tutelage. Capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Win while you have them and keep them around for as long as you think you have a Super Bowl run because you're not going to find that again. Yeah. It's like the Dante Scarnecchia run of great offensive lines in New England. And the second he left, it fell apart, and they had to get him out of retirement to come back
and fix it
so they could make the playoffs and get smoked by the Bills.
We got the Pittsburgh guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we got the Pittsburgh.
I don't hate that.
Yeah.
And then there's DJ Moore, which, again, you want to talk about both sides of the ball have one polarizing decision. I was in Florida last week visiting my father. And so obviously I wasn't glued to my phone. You know, I'm out there. I'm at the pool. 85 degrees, saltwater pool.
Where in Florida?
The Villages.
Where's that?
Spanish Springs.
Golf?
Doug, it's a.
No, Doug, Drew went on vacation. He did not go caddy at a golf course.
It's Doug.
Have you ever seen Drew in the deep heat with his shirt off? His nipples get dark brown, like this Kentucky straight bourbon.
Doug, I was out there just living my best life. 85 degrees, sun, a light buzz, a nice breeze. I'm not looking at my phone. My kids are in the pool. We're all having a great time.
Did a little Spanish accent come out?
A little bit. And then my phone starts blowing up. And I'm like, what's happening? And everyone's like, are you out of, did you see a second round pick? I was like, guys, I don't have time for this. I put the phone down, literally turned it face down, shoved it away from me. When we traded for DJ Moore, what was your emotion?
Initially, because they said mid-round pick, I was very happy because he was better.
Right.
He is better than any wide receiver I have on my team. Okay? That is what I initially thought of it. And then I saw the second round pick. So instead of getting mad, I went to go dig deeper, and I'm like, okay, maybe Chicago's taking some of the salary off or eating some of it. Something. I'm getting something back.
Yeah.
Am I getting DJ Moore and a 4th round pick, a 3rd round pick? You know what I mean? Something like that. And then I'm like, all right, DJ and a 5th, and I'm trying not to get mad. I'm trying to legit justify it. I'm like, okay, I'm getting my wide receiver. I'm getting a 5th round pick back. Bean is good in rounds 4, 5, and 6, but I'm not getting a break on the salary. And I'm giving up the 2nd round, the 60th pick. And then I'm like, okay, this is a little much.
Well, and this is it. Like this trade.
I had the opposite effect because so somebody smarter than me, like a Greg Thompson, you break down the numbers or whatever. I guess he's got to stay like the life of the contract. There's really like
there's no outs.
There's no outs. Okay.
It's 3 more years.
So that's not cool that we had to restructure and there's no outs. Then I look at, okay, we're giving up our 2nd round pick.
I'd just like to point out the Washington. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, we got the Sabres game on in the studio. So
1-0.
So yeah, it's 1-0. Sam Carrick with a hell of a goal. So I look at the 2nd round pick and then I'm like, okay, we've talked on the show about some misses in the 2nd with Bean. So I went to Pro Football Reference and I just scanned through. Okay, who do we take? Who are his 2nd round picks? By my count, he's 3 of 8 in the 2nd round. So we're picking at the back end of the 2nd. So then it's like I'm okay with giving up the 2nd because by history, Bean's not that great at it. But I also don't love the contract restructured where we have no outs.
Right. And that's totally fair. Like, this isn't a hate on DJ Moore. Because I watched the dude go back-to-back games, win the game versus Green Bay in the playoffs, and then get blamed by our favorite person, Chris Collinsworth, for not finishing his route versus the Rams, and that's why they lose the game. So I love that. Let's go straight facts here. He's always on the field because he's healthy. That's number 1. And number 2, I was one of the guys, if what I heard at this past trade deadline is that we had a chance to get Waddle for a 1 and a 3. And Bean didn't want to give up his 2026 first. He wanted to give up a 2027 first. And I'm like, just give it up and give me Waddle. I'm crippling Miami and I'm getting Waddle. He is statistically better than Waddle.
Well, it's
And
interesting
he's
you bring that up
way more healthy.
because I've got some numbers on these things. But what I want to talk about is just this idea that this is going to be the defining acquisition of the season for Bean. You traded away our second round pick and brought in a bunch of salary. Like, you could talk about Chubb being, it's a swing. He's been making these stupid swings and missing for a while. So It doesn't matter. It's not going to be the thing that kills us. This is a polarizing one because it was the thing that everybody knew needed to change. And you took the swing just in a very different direction than anybody could have projected. Like every other talking head out here on a podcast or on a local radio station or on a national TV show, nobody had DJ Moore. It was me talking about Jerry Jeudy and saying that would be who I'd try to get.
Yeah.
Big, young boundary receiver who had 1,200 yards when you fed him 140
Going to be so
looks.
happy to get out of just a sinking ship.
Exactly.
And I mentioned it being Amari Cooper trade 2.0.
And
You throw like a fourth or fifth and get Judy.
so
That's
you-
initially what was reported.
Yeah.
So that's it. So then you talk about stuff like that. You say, okay, this is what I'm thinking. And then I'm looking at, okay, I'll take a Juwan Jennings or no, not a Juwan.
Yeah.
Is that,
He's a free agent? Yeah.
San
from
Francisco.
yeah, from San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's
Him.
Juwan Jennings. It's,
There's Debo
I
Samuel. There's Darnell Mooney.
there's these guys, right? But then I go, you look at this and look how polarizing it was when it happened. You've got talking heads like ESPN who grade this an A for Chicago and a D for Buffalo because we ate all that salary. The fans nearly rioted a couple days later when Michael Pittman goes for a late round pick swap, and statistically, he's pretty similar in production to Moore.
Yes, he is.
And now you say, well, it's almost like that scene in Step Brothers where they fart in the office. And he goes, well, I was kind of digging this at first, but now this seems kind of fucked up. That's how you felt when you saw it. And I'll be honest, I'm not surprised that out of all the people that we're going to trade for, like there was no A.J. Brown. Nobody's chasing A.J. Brown.
No, well, did you? I guess.
Well, I know
the
Hunter
Eagles'
Roseman's
asking
being cheap.
is
Yeah.
The asking price apparently. Is
Exactly.
insane.
He's being cheap and trying to be like, hey, I don't
Like-
want to pay. I don't want to retain salary. And I also
a
don't.
first plus.
Yeah, it's a first plus. Nobody's going to do that.
No, the Rams should.
But also just, I don't know. I've heard people saying that this combined with their lack of traction at defensive end, short of Chubb, means that they can't take a wide receiver early. And they're like, well, this trade, now they're off the board. They can't take a wide receiver early.
That's not true.
I don't think so at all.
In what world is that true?
I think you could still go get a KC Concepcion or somebody else who might be more of a pure route runner.
Rochester's finest.
And so you can go out there, but there's a few things about DJ Moore that stand out to me. And what I like to look at is reception perception by Matt Harmon. So these are some charts, and this is DJ Moore's route percentage. How many out of all the routes he ran, where do his routes go? Now, Doug, you're looking at this chart with me. Stands out to you. He when you look at green, red, and yellow, what it means is how does that stack up with receivers that have been charted over the last 2 decades since he started compiling all the data. 9 route being 14% is low historically for a wide receiver. The fact that you only run 14% of your routes as a true go route
9 routes straight fly route. If you guys
is
don't know, it's just straight.
interesting. And then the fact that you only ran 4% of your total routes as comeback routes is strange because it seems like, okay, what they're saying is you might not break off your route cleanly enough to actually get them to believe you're coming. You know what I mean?
If you break,
You don't sell the downfield enough to
Right.
come back with authority and be wide open.
see, this is why. This is right here. This is perfect. This is why I love the player. This is why I love the player.
Well, this is just pure usage percentage.
This is why I love this, because that screams to me. Do you remember what New England did with Edelman and Welker?
Yeah.
This screams to me that with Shakir and DJ Moore. Who are you going to get? Who are you going to get? Who are you going to get? That's what it screams to me. So what you just said, it doesn't stop you from going to get that guy in the draft. Or if you want to go get a Jennings, if you want to go get a Darnell Mooney, that's when it's like, okay, now here's the overload. Now this is what we want.
Well, when you look at success by route by comparison of how he was used, this is where you start to think about everything that was said in defense of him. Like, oh, he just wasn't utilized properly. And that's a thing, that's a trope that you hear all the time in free agency among fans. When you look at DJ Moore, it might actually be true. Because when you look at the success he had on the 9 route, when he went on a pure fly route, success is deemed as, did you separate? Did you separate enough to catch the football if the quarterback were to target you? Mm-hmm. And Matt Harmon on his website will define that. But it's hilarious that 61.5% of the time, if he went on a fly, he's open. Now, some of that is because you're playing with a Colson Loveland and a Romeo Dobbs and other players who can take some of the eyes off you. But also you have Josh Allen. Every defense is going to be playing zone because those safeties know if we turn our back, he's going to run.
Right.
And when he does, somebody has to be there to try to backstop this thing.
This is where I want people to understand, if they're mad with the player, to not be. Because you see that right there.
Look at the comeback.
Yes.
Look at the comeback route.
Dude, look at his screen.
I know.
And this is the best thing.
100%.
You know why they can't just focus on him?
Success on
Because we have Shakir,
yes,
Kincaid, and Cook. Oh, and forgot about the MVP, Josh Allen.
And here's what I do like about the comeback route. That being such a prolific part of his game when he does get to run it, because of his route running and the suddenness to his route running. The biggest problem with the Bills offense last year was that Keon Coleman was asked to do it a ton. He just doesn't run clean routes.
Right.
So it was never a part of it. How many times did you see in games where it was either almost a pick or it was just an incomplete pass where it's a contested catch?
Right.
Because he's trying to come back. What that means is that you don't gear up quickly enough and then gear down and turn fast enough to really separate from that cornerback. You're lazy about your route. DJ Moore is the polar opposite.
Correct.
When he snaps his route, he snaps it. This offense hasn't had that since Stephon Diggs.
That's what they're lacking.
And so when you give him this, now you've got this guy who can go out there and be a boon to your offense in multiple facets at 3 levels of the offense. And also can just give you the good old fashioned run to the sticks and turn around and look at me.
Yeah.
Run 14 and come back 3. And I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you right in the numbers and catch that ball and go down.
And see, when you talk about it like that, it gets me excited and less worried about the second round pick.
Because we haven't had that.
I know.
And there was nobody in the second round of the draft that you were going to get this year that was going to solve that.
No.
Now, the problem is people go, well, we could have taken a first-round wide receiver and gotten a really good defensive player in the second round. I think people need to start warming up to the idea that first-round pick is probably going to be an edge player.
That's what I mean. Trade out of the first. Get an extra second and a third for it, or an extra second and a fourth.
If you look at the top 4, Shakir, Moore, Coleman, Palmer, we're already better than last year.
We are.
By a notable margin.
We need one more.
If he's the last skill position upgrade we make, would you be okay with that, given what the tight end room is and how much we used it last year?
No, I'm just being honest. I need one more.
Okay.
To feel comfortable, I need one more. You know why? I can't count on Coleman, and I can't count on Palmer staying on the field.
So then when we talk about anybody else you'd like to see him target as they move into what is essentially the third and fourth wave of free agency, is there anybody out there specifically you have your eye on?
There's 2 guys. I think Juwan Jennings in this offense.
He's Jordan Poyer as a wide receiver.
Juwan Jennings in this offense, on top of what you have already, would be absolutely fantastic. Then it's like, man, good luck game planning against every facet because we're still going to run the ball.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then,
but all those guys can run block.
And then 2, and I believe they still haven't. I would love the free agent safety Brisker out there that's out there. I think that would be, they need that veteran guy to pair just to have. And they don't. And right now, like just how I feel right now after this first wave, is screaming that they're going to make safety another high priority for them in the draft.
They should.
They should, but they have the way they need another pass rush and another backer.
I'm looking at a couple guys. First of all, Arnold, like the last edge they have is that Arnold Ebikite. I don't know if that's how you say it, but I don't give a shit until you're in my uniform. I'll mispronounce your name anyway. I couldn't spell Reinhardt for my entire life. I still can't.
Samson
Reinhardt. I still can't spell it. based on what's left, he's the best pure athlete. And he's also, besides AJ Epinesa, the only one on the market who's not 30 years old.
Yeah.
So if you were going to take a flyer on a guy, he might be a little more expensive. You'd have to figure out how you're going to fit him in. He'd have to be okay with a contract that doesn't pay him a ton now, just to lower his cap hit. But then maybe you'd have to give him like a 4-year. And I don't know if they want to do that. He's more of a guy who maybe needs like a 1 or 2 year deal. But if you're the Buffalo, he's the best of what's out there. If you don't want to use your first round pick on that, then you go get a guy like this and say maybe a change of scenery and a new DC changes his outcome on the field. And he's 27. So he's still
young enough where he could.
Where he could grow.
He could.
Also, boundary corner. You've got names still floating around out there. I see Trey White. I see Rasul Douglas. And Avonte Maddox is an interesting one to me. I like guys who played outside with physicality. In defenses where they ask you to play a lot of grabby man coverage. You know, Avonte Maddox spent his whole career playing in Philly, and he won a Super Bowl. He's been to a couple of them with him.
I don't think, and this might be...
These guys might all cost less than $2 million.
Is anyone, Chris, you too, does anyone here hate Trey White's second half of his season?
No.
For the money you can get him?
He saved our playoff game by being physical.
That dude
by playing the
was
craziest,
a dog in Jacksonville.
By being the most physical version of Trey White I've ever seen, he saved that Jacksonville game.
Bring out those socks.
And so I would love to see the Buffalo Bills, even though I know his loyalty probably is to Sean McDermott. I would love to see him come back on a 1 year, 2 year small money deal. Like clearly he's not getting a giant contract anywhere else.
I think a 1 year deal would be perfect for him. Let him say Wody as much as he wants in practice and bring him in.
And Darnell Mooney, go get me a Darnell, and if only because then I'll think of Paul Mooney every time I see him out there in the field, and I'll just do Paul Mooney. Just being I'm sorry, this whole thing has come off the rails.
No,
what I'll say is also there is Stephon Diggs. All right, that's a joke. This is hilarious. This podcast is over. We get Chris.
He's our Rick Vaughn.
Chris
California penal.
Chris literally made the joke off air. He goes, I don't know. I think he goes, it depends on what prison he gets sent to. It's going to depend on whether or not he can play for Buffalo. What jail is he going to?
Can't be choking people if they don't want it.
That is true. Consent.
It.
There you go, brother. Guys, this has been a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what the Bills do because obviously they're now dumpster diving. They're dollar store shopping. But that doesn't mean there ain't going to be bodies you can throw at this football team that won't make it better. I can't wait, but we got to get the hell out of here. I'm Drew Gear. That's Chris Kruger. That's Doug Roloski. This has been your Rockpile Report.